Welcome to Views from the Top, the podcast from Arma Partners. I am Paul Guély, managing partner of the firm, and it is my pleasure today to have a chat with Harry Thomsen, CEO of Aareon. Harry, welcome. Great to see you on this sunny day. Maybe as a starting point, can you please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about Aareon and how it fits into the PropTech ecosystem?
Yeah, first of all, hi, Paul. Thanks for having me today. So my name is Harry Thomsen. I run Aareon since 4 years now. Yeah, I started beginning of April in 2022. Yeah, I spent my whole professional life in enterprise software. Yeah, thereof more than 10 years with SAP. Yeah, in different management position. Most recently, I was managing the European business, more than 30 countries, very diverse. Now I'm with Aareon. I'm really excited, yeah, of the journey which is already behind us, and even more, yeah, the future which lies ahead of us. Aareon is the most trusted provider of SaaS solution for the real estate industry in Europe. Yeah, what we are doing, actually, we are helping our customer to manage their data, their processes, their properties, communication in one digital system. So the real estate industry is a laggard in terms of digitalization. Very complex. Yeah, you have a lot of disruptions between different processes, a lot of manual tasks that needs to be fulfilled. Yeah, what we are doing at Aareon is, yeah, we are bringing the ecosystem closer together, yeah, by connecting people, processes, and properties. We want to simplify all processes in that industry. There is one thing, yeah, where we're really lucky about. That is the evolution of AI. Yeah, we have already started to infuse our workflows, yeah, with AI, helping our customer to have less repetitive tasks to fulfill. Yeah, but this has just the beginning of a much longer journey and hopefully a bright future for us.
Thank you. You mentioned SAP, where you used to work and have a very big position. If I remember well, you also worked for Oracle and IBM in your previous career. Can you tell us how those experiences with other firms shaped you as the CEO you are today? What did you draw from each of them, and how did that help you evolve your career to the current position?
So I think in every company, I learned something. There was always someone from whom I learned things, yeah, how I can develop myself. So I think which qualified me most for being a CEO, running a European business in Aareon, is, yeah, my last position in SAP, where I really managed the growth of in a very diverse market environment, the growth of across country, yeah, to scale a software company in smaller and bigger countries. I think that is something that really helps me, yeah, and also leadership at scale. Yeah, you cannot be everywhere. Every country has different challenges, different opportunities. Yeah, you have to manage the diversity. And yeah, so overseeing a huge P&L means you have to balance, yeah, growth with cost discipline, with the spend you do on innovation. Finally, I think what really is important is the mindset. Yeah, having a future ready mindset. Yeah, challenging the status quo. I think that has evolved over many years in different positions, never giving up. Yeah, so always seeing the glass half full and being a role model, showing other people how it goes and giving other people room to grow, inspiring people. Yeah, those leadership skills are really essential, to maneuver a company, on their growth path.
You mentioned being future ready and on a growth path. Aareon used to be a captive subsidiary of a large German commercial bank. Then it got spun off under private equity ownership, and then it was the subject of a 4 billion acquisition by TPG. What made that evolution possible? I mean, it's a massive transition, including culturally. What made it possible, and how did it happen?
So looking backwards is always easier to explain than looking forward. So at the end, I think everything started when the bank brought Advent in as a minority shareholder, to having their capabilities, their knowledge in how to run a SaaS company. And shortly after, they hired me. I was quite a little bit reluctant because I did not see the beautiness of that opportunity. It took me a while. Net, it was the best decision I have ever made. So Aareon was a kind of unpolished gemstone. It was managed by a bank. They have done the right things. But for me, it is always a little bit of journey from good to great. What has happened since I came in? At the end, it's all about having the right strategy. So the bank had the strategy, growth at any cost. They wanted to grow the top line, and did not focus much on the bottom line, developing new products. If you overly focus on the top line, there's a high risk to fail, because you never know when you decide to develop something, how long it takes, if there is enough demand. So I changed the strategy when I came in, a more balanced strategy between top line and bottom line growth. And we also focus very much on acquisitions. So the company was already in a good state, because it was already a pan-European company, but it was not managed like a pan-European company. It was very much managed out of the headquarters. The European housing real estate industry is highly regulated by local regulations, policies. So it's very difficult to run a business out of the headquarters, to understand exactly what customer need, what solutions they need. So the strategy was, instead of having local solutions, because it's a regulated market, to build on top of the local ERPs, so-called digital solution, do it once for all countries. But it starts already by gathering all the requirements, bring it together. So they have built solutions that fit 80%, but a SaaS solution that fits 80% fits nowhere. So I have completely changed the setup in terms of empowering the countries, having a leaner group, that is in charge of processes, systems, steering the budget, steering the priorities of the company, but also ensuring best practice sharing. That copy with pride is a principle, and is not everyone has to reinvent the wheel by himself. And of course, being part of a group is more attractive in terms of attracting talent from the market. So there were a lot of things. It was also the people. I've changed a lot on the people side. I brought in new leader, a new leadership team, and that has cascaded down. But at the end, when I think what was the most relevant change, then it was empowering the countries, giving. But it's at the end, it's a balance between the group, which ensures proper investments into different countries, ensures that the strategy is aligned with the countries. But in a highly regulated industry, where we don't have probably a handful of customers that do business with us in more than one country. Yeah, and we have no single product which we use in more than one country. It's a very, very unique setting because we are operating in a deep vertical niche.
One thing you haven't mentioned, which is also, at least not yet, which is part of your strategy, is M&A. Aareon as a platform on which you can bolt on some acquisitions. And you've done more of that as well since you've taken over as CEO. How do you tell a good acquisition from a bad acquisition? How do you identify the right targets?
Look, at the end, when you think about an acquisition, yeah, the acquisition needs to fit into your strategy. And of course, yeah, there should be good financials, but that is not enough from my perspective. Yeah, it's also important when you think about M&A that 1 + 1 does not equal 2. It should be more than 2. I'm always thinking about synergies. Yeah, when we combine a company that we acquire with our own business, there should be either a synergy on the top line, or there should be a synergy on the bottom line. Yeah, bringing together two companies should generate value. Otherwise, that is for me, it's a logic behind, yeah, what really generates value and is not just one more company and you add complexity. What you should not underestimate is also the culture, is about the leadership, the people you bring on board, how is the cultural fit. And as you said, yeah, so the M&A piece for sure was important. Our growth, yeah, came half from organic and half from inorganic. Since today, we have done 25 acquisitions. Yeah, and for sure, yeah, our home market is the business we do with property owner of multifamily houses. That is where we come from. Yeah, doing acquisitions. Yeah, we have added a new customer segment. That's a customer segment of property administrator. In the UK, you call it block management. It's homeowner association. Yeah, that is the business we have added. And finally, that was also a significant transaction we have done. Yeah, from our mother. Yeah, we acquired 75% of a joint venture that offers pay solution to our customers. So the combination of owning and offering the core workflows together with pay is a very sticky business. You sit in the heart of your customer. So you're in a unique position to bring in new solutions, new digital offerings, that you can perfectly up and cross-sell.
You mentioned new solutions, new digital offerings. You operate obviously in the housing and property market. Which parts of that market do you think remain inefficient from a technology point of view, where new solutions can emerge to address those inefficiencies?
So when you look on the housing industry, there are so many stakeholders in that industry, that work together on the same property. Yeah, if you are the property owner of that building, you have to orchestrate with a property management system, and that is what we offer. It is not just a pure ERP or a CRM, it is an end-to-end solution. But still, with such kind of end-to-end solutions, there is so many frictions and so many manual tasks to fulfill by the employees in that industry that the digitalization is not yet done. This industry is 30 years behind in terms of digitalization. So I really believe that there is so much more to do in terms of infusing AI into the business processes in order to automate all the repetitive tasks that currently are handled manually by human beings.
Yeah, well, you mentioned AI. Obviously, the prevailing view is that some software companies will benefit from AI and embrace it. Others will die as a result of AI. Obviously, Aareon is positioning itself as a winner. Can you tell us a little bit more on this? What are you doing specifically, and how do you know that AI will make Aareon an even better business than it is today?
We have started very early with the journey because we have already seen that AI can be a key to solve the biggest problems in this industry. When you think about the real estate industry today, yeah, so there's only one industry that has invested less in digitalization so far, that is agriculture. And when you think about accountants and lawyers today in real estate industry, there are more employees working than in both industries together. So when I think about AI for us is a fast-growing product category ever. Yeah, since October last year, yeah, we have launched organically 6 solutions. I come to that later to explain a little bit what we do. We have acquired 2 companies, AI native companies for sure, and we have already one active, more than 600 customer using AI. And when I say using AI, it's not, we have not done lipstick on the pig, yeah, it's real. They have bought a real AI product from us. It's not just, okay, now we call our ERP an AI ERP. So that shows a little bit, yeah, what is possible and how quickly we can innovate and we can launch new offers to the market. You said already on Aiden, yeah, it's our triage and repair diagnostic tool, and also for compliance, which is very well accepted in the market. Yeah, it's a really strong value proposition, and it resonates very well. So we have done another acquisition in the Netherlands. That is impressive, actually. I learned today it's Triple Blue. Yeah, so they have actually, one of their products is a note taker. Yeah, when the PA is doing the annual meeting with the homeowner association, yeah, with the owner of each and every apartment, they have to take every word that is spoken. So, and this is something where AI can really make such a big difference. So we saw really the demand exploding in Q4, and just recently, a few days ago, we ran another web meeting with 200 participants, and more than 2 handful came immediately and asked for a quote. Yeah, so that shows, and what we have done also, and that is by ourselves. Yeah, we have some digital agents already. So some, yeah, we call it in Germany, we call it AVA. Yeah, AVA knowledge. Yeah, AVA chat and voice bot. Yeah, which helps the customer to fully automate the conversation. Yeah, in their service centers, and we can fully automatically manage the inbox. Yeah, whatever comes in, yeah, and it's not just Gen AI. It's a fully automated process that it is triggered and another action happens afterwards. So there is more to come in that area. So there are a lot of workflows in the ERP, yeah, that can be further automated. Yeah, for me, it's just the beginning of a journey. Yeah, we are now tackling our core workflows like service charge calculation, which is really in the heart of every customer. Yeah, to really with agentic AI, and this is not just one layer. It's just, there are a lot of agents that needs to interact with each other. So I'm very positive that we will soon launch in Germany something that can be really move the needle in terms of automating, and really helping customer to get rid of all the repetitive tasks that needs to perform by human beings today. And looking forward, when I think about AI, I said we are operating in different countries. Yeah, we don't have a single product that is used in more than one country. So for us, it was always difficult to let a product travel. Yeah, with the evolution of AI, we see already how quickly we can develop new products. Yeah, the time to market has changed significantly. What took weeks takes days. What took days takes hours. Yeah, we can take a concept that works in every country is slightly different. There are nuances. Yeah, but if we see there's a workflow where there is a willingness of customer to pay for, and you take that concept and take that idea and bring it to a different market, that was something that was not possible before. So for me, AI is, of course, yeah, we need to stay tuned what comes with AI. But at the moment, yeah, we are quite ahead of the users. We are completely changing our software development life cycle, yeah, so that we will be much faster in developing new software in the future.
You mentioned innovation and AI, you're PE-backed, private equity-backed, so there's a strong focus on the bottom line as well. How do you reconcile margin expansion, EBITDA margin expansion, with continuing investment in R&D and innovation? How do you maintain that equilibrium?
So for me, there is no contradiction. Yeah. So growth and margin expansion can go hand in hand. We have proven that. Yeah. Over many years, you have to be very disciplined. Yeah. Where you put your bets. Yeah. So as I said, copy with pride and show me the money. At the end, yeah, don't invest into something where you don't believe there is a payoff. Yeah, it's all about prioritization. It's about focus. And as I said already, AI is definitely a key, and not only using AI to infuse AI into our workflows, into our products, using AI internally. When you use AI in developing software, you can significantly increase the efficiency of your development organization, and it's not only also in customer support, in customer success, in marketing and sales. So there is actually in every department, yeah, AI will help us, yeah, on the margin side, yeah, while we are growing the top line. For me, growth is the lifeblood of a business. If you don't grow, yeah, so something is not healthy with your business. So you need to carefully balance growth and cost discipline.
Thinking about your addressable markets, you can expand geographically, you can expand in adjacent verticals. How will you prioritize that? You can go in all sorts of directions, but you need to pick your battles, right? How will you set those priorities?
So look, when you think about our growth strategy on M&A, yeah, we have three kind of different opportunities that we will pursue. So entering a new market, usually when we do so, yeah, we start with a system of records, yeah, entering via number one, number two, yeah, to have already a significant presence in a market on which we can then build and cross and upsell. That is one. Two is buying in a market where we're already a new product, innovations. That is number two. And number three is finally entering in an existing market, entering a new customer segment. Yeah, those are usually the three options we pursue. What we see right now is we have a huge pipeline. Yeah, we really carefully look, yeah, into every segment. Yeah, what could make sense for us. Yeah, what fits now into our portfolio. If we have done already 2 acquisitions in one country, probably we don't do number 3 at the same time. But as I mentioned already, we're quite busy on infusing all our software with AI. Yeah, we are really up-leveling our software. So in terms of innovation, M&A was quite important for the company at the beginning, when I came here. Nowadays, with AI, it is still important, to add some capabilities, but we can easily build software now, which we had to acquire 1 year ago. And we can, especially when we see that there is a workflow that resonates very well in one country, we bring it to another country, easily. So, nevertheless, as you asked, there are some adjacent businesses, like commercial real estate. We have already some businesses in some countries. We do some business in commercial real estate. At the moment, the appetite is we're quite busy. There are so many opportunities. Even in the markets we operate, we have a huge growth potential going forward with the capabilities we have so far. I would never say never, but it is not priority number one for me at the moment.
Housing is socially critical. What would you want the legacy of Aareon or the impact that Aareon is having on the European housing market to be? How do you approach that social responsibility that you have?
So when you think about housing is a fundamental element of our society. And we are supporting the organization that offer housing to the broader society. They have to manage a lot of complexity, as you have heard. We are the partner helping them, to better run their business, to better serve their clients, to offer a better user experience, to be more resilient in what they do. Our purpose is sustainable spaces for all. Finally, when you think about Aareon, we are a partner of the housing industry. We cannot fully solve the housing shortage in Europe. That is not what we can, but we can help the housing providers to become more efficient, to become more resilient, and to offer a better service. And finally, what we do is not only on the technology side. Our help is also, at the end, is a little bit society.
Harry, thank you very much. Pleasure to talk to you as always. Thoroughly enjoyed the discussion. This was Views from the Top, the podcast from Arma Partners. Join us again for some new episodes.